As crazy as it sounds, but One Piece has been stolen from Oda Sensei by actual pirates. Want to hear more? Keep watching. Igeze. Okay, so we're over here at The Guardian, which is not a usual source I use to talk about manga and anime news, but it's the only one where I could find actually information on this matter, and I think it's really important we talk about this because Oda Sensei, the creator of One Piece, in my opinion, has been swindled. And let's see what this is about. So, in The Guardian, the article titles "The longest single volume book in the world goes on sale and is impossible to read." The 21,405 page volume of manga series One Piece is physically unreadable, to highlight how comics now exist as commodities. Now that sounds pretty weird, all of that. So what is it about? So a limited edition single volume of the long-running manga One Piece is being billed as the longest book in existence. It has 21,450 pages and, according to them, is physically impossible to read, making it less a book and more of a sculpture. It's priced at 1,900 euros, hefty price tag. And the book isn't credited to Eiichiro Oda Sensei, the actual creator, the writer, the mangaka that created One Piece. But it is being attributed to a certain Ilan Manuwatch, which is already a weird thing because One Piece was created by Oda Sensei. All anime fans know that, all manga fans know that. This guy doesn't have anything to do with One Piece, yet he's the one being credited here. And they say he's a multidisciplinary artist who has designed the limited edition volume, which is titled One Piece in one word. So what did he do? He printed out a Japanese digital edition of One Piece and bound it all together, treating the comic not as a book, but as sculpture material. They put it between quotation marks. And that's according to the book or artworks publisher, the French publisher JBE. So a spokesperson for JBE told The Guardian that One Piece is an unreadable sculpture that takes the shape of a book, the largest to date. And it's more of, as they say, a sort of a commentary on the fact that comics have become commodities and whatnot, the digital distribution of comics and manga. There are 50 copies, and they are saying they are sold out. So 50 times 1,900, quick calculation, that's 95,000 euros. That's almost 100,000 euros earned by selling this single volume One Piece manga. So a bunch of explanation here. So Manuwatch's piece came about because of the profusion of available online content and the rampant digitization of the comics industry, which challenges the state-of-the-art comics craftsmanship, according to his publisher, so JBE. Ilan Manuwatch's One Piece proposes to shift the understanding of digital comics from a qualitative examination of the formal possibilities of digital comics to a quantitative reappraisal of comics as big data. Simply put, we have a massive pseudo-intellectual word salad here to cover up the fact that they actually just copied somebody else's work. That's it. They sell it as an art piece, they sell it as a sculpture, but in fact, and as a social commentary or a commentary on the state of comics and manga industry. But in my opinion, there's nothing transformative about this. They just took the whole digital version of One Piece, printed the whole thing out, bound it together in one massive volume, and called it a day. So, yeah, make of it what you will. Now, JB also described comics as dual objects, having a use value for readers and an exchange value for collectors. In creating a book you cannot read, Manuwatch apparently wanted to highlight the way comics exist as both commodity and literature. It's a theory that the comics industry itself has embraced. One company, CGC, offers a service where it grades customers' comics and encases them in protective plastic. Now, here I want to make a point. It is true, I know CGC, I used to be not only a manga fan, but also a hardcore comics fan back in the 80s. Not anymore, because I've grown tired of American comics. The stories just don't appeal to me anymore. But I know of CGC, and that is indeed a company that specializes in grading American comics, encasing them into protective plastic cases or sleeves, or hard sleeves actually, and they grade them. They say the more pristine the comic is, the higher the grade, right? Now, that is something that is applicable to the American comics industry, that's true, because there you have limited edition runs. They print, for example, volume 1, number 1 of, I'm just going to name one out there, like for example the series Magneto. And after it has been released, after it has been sold, then they move on to volume 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And they don't reprint that number 1. So there were X number of volumes printed at that time. And if that was, for example, 30 years ago, and that is a very popular comic that is still going strong, well, that original number 1 print is worth a certain amount of money if you have that in a good condition, right? That's what they're alluding to here. Now, for the manga industry, that doesn't hold true at all. It is a moot point because comics are a very different beast than manga. Manga, first of all, are printed in black and white on lesser quality paper. It's a mass consumption article in Japan. They roll off the conveyor belt at an incredible speed, and as long as a manga series is popular, they keep reprinting the number 1, the number 2, so new readers can buy those volumes and can catch up to the story. There's not really any collector's value in that, in my opinion, other than the fact that you have that in your collection. You have the story, you have the manga, right? But for example, if you go to Japan, well, you go to used bookstores like Book Off, which is one of the biggest ones in Japan. Well, you can find plenty of manga there, secondhand, and they will always be cheaper than buying the manga new. So what holds true for American comics is actually the opposite for Japanese manga. You buy a manga, you know it's printed on paper that isn't gonna last, that it's gonna turn yellowish. I have manga in my collection that have turned pretty yellow because I've had them in my collection for quite some time, and which is why I'm starting to buy more and more the digital versions of manga, because I can keep them in a pristine state and they don't take up too much space. What they're hinting at or alluding at here is that, well, if you buy that original manga, then it has a certain value. It's not literature, it's more of a commodity as well. Well, that doesn't hold true at all for the manga industry. So in my opinion, as a fan of manga and anime for many years, from back to the late 70s actually, I don't hold a doctor's degree in manga studies or anything like that, but I've been a fan for a long time. I don't see or consider manga as a commodity. It is literature. It is something you buy, you consume, you read. If you like the story, you keep it in your collection, but you know the quality of the paper is not going to last. It's going to degrade, even when you put it in plastic bags. I've tried it. Still, the paper will degrade a little bit. Now, that also has its charm, let me say. But that is not something that you can trade up or that you can sell with a higher value, like you have with some highly sought after older American comics. So that doesn't hold any water here, in my opinion. So when asked if Eiichiro Oda had been involved or consulted about the creation of One Piece, One Piece, this version of One Piece, they mean, and if there were any copyright considerations. Now, here's the interesting part. The JBE spokesperson said, "This piece is about Manuwachi's work around ecosystems of comics, here as a sculptor who uses online dissemination as source material, not reading copyright content. There could be no infringement of copyright, the publisher believes, because it is physically impossible to read the book." Now, both the artist, and I'm putting it between quotation marks, as well as the publisher say, look, this is not released as a book, this is released as a sculpture, and as such, people can't read it, so copyright infringement doesn't hold here. Now, Keita Murano, a member of the international rights staff at Shueisha, so that's the Japanese publisher of, among others, One Piece, confirmed that his company had not been consulted about the JBE book. He says, the product you mentioned is not official. We didn't give permission to them. Our licensee in France, which publishes One Piece, is the publisher Glénat. Now, that is true because I keep an eye a bit on publishers outside of Japan as well. And Glénat is one of the biggest publishers of manga in France. As far as I can tell, they're on good standing with Shueisha. They have a lot of licenses. They release a lot of manga in French, and they indeed also hold a license for One Piece. So JBE Books, also being a French publisher, does not hold the rights. They didn't consult Shueisha. They didn't work with Glénat. I would be talking very differently if it was Glénat that had released this item, because they hold the rights and they would have consulted with Shueisha for sure. Now, here it says, Eiichiro Oda may not be getting any royalties from the publication of this One Piece, but his comic series have already made him the richest manga creator of all time, with an estimated net worth of around 200 million. His original One Piece manga is listed, blah, 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 many millions printed. I don't like the turn they take here with this sentence, so they seem to infer that they didn't go through the official channels, they didn't get any license to release this, but you know what, the mangaka already made his money, so he's filthy rich, so whatever. That seems to be a bit of the undertone the article conveys here. I strongly disagree with that. Whether a mangaka is successful or not, whether a mangaka has made a lot of money from his or her work or not, is a moot point, in my opinion. If somebody makes something, then they have every right to earn their percentage on anything that is created from that work, provided it's not too transformative, I would say. For example, now here transformative is there's nothing transformative about this. They just took the entire manga, the whole series, printed it out as it is, bound it all together in one volume instead of separate volumes, and put it in a box. And even we will see that in a minute, even the illustrations they used for the front, back, and spine cover are also those of Oda Sensei. So in my opinion, the undertone they take here in this article is not okay. Definitely not. I strongly feel that a creator, a mangaka, is entitled to his or her fair share of the pie when it's clearly a reproduction of their work. Many of you don't know that, but I'm currently also writing my own book. It's going to be a work of many months and years, maybe even, because I don't have a lot of time to write. But I definitely would feel disgusted if somebody else just took my work and used it for their own financial benefit. And that's also a very important part here, because first of all, I want to make it very clear, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a legal degree. And as such, anything I say here is only and strictly speaking my personal opinion. Copyright law can be very complicated. I dabble in it a little bit as a YouTuber because I need to be informed about that for my videos. But aside from that, I'm not an expert on copyright. That being said, my personal opinion is that what JB Books is doing here, together with this artist, this Manuach, is frankly very disgusting. This is abhorrent behavior because, in my opinion, they don't do anything transformative. They just take another man's life's work, because this is Oda Sensei's life's work. He has been working on One Piece for, let's say, the vast majority of his life. They simply take it, and not only that, they use it to earn money for themselves. This is not okay, in my opinion, and I'm not speaking legally. I have to be very clear. I don't know whether or not this would hold any ground, legally speaking. But from a moral standpoint, from a moral point of view, I cannot condone this. This is despicable behavior. This is, in my opinion, morally speaking, intellectual theft. They are stealing from Oda Sensei, and what they're doing should be called out in the strongest of senses, in my opinion. Again, just my opinion, not a legal standpoint here. It would be interesting if Shueisha would undertake any legal action. I think the battle in court would be quite interesting, because on the one hand, you have Shueisha and Oda Sensei saying, look, you just reproduced my work here. And then on the other hand, you have JBE Books, who will say, no, we made a sculpture. We didn't make a book, we made a sculpture. This is something completely different. As such, we cannot have infringed on your copyrights. I don't know how that would turn out. If somebody has any insight in these matters, or has a better understanding of copyright law, please leave a comment below. I would be very interested to read your comments or your thoughts on the matter. I know, but depending on the country you are in, this can go various ways. I know, for example, that in America there's such a thing as fair use, which is often used here on YouTube as well. And I think it's good that something as fair use exists, and I think that's okay. If it's clearly a case of fair use, then that's okay. What is fair use, for example? You take something that exists and you make something new of it, but the thing that you transform or add to the original work is far bigger than the original work. Simple example, it's something YouTubers like myself do all of the time. I make a video, for example, I'm currently producing a video series on the origin and the meaning of all the character names that appear in Dragon Ball. So if you like that, have a look. I have a playlist. You can find all the videos there. And each character I talk about, I put an image of that character on the screen. Now, according to Japanese law, strictly speaking, I'm not allowed to use that one image, because even for the slightest image that you use, or piece of animation or music or whatever, you always need the explicit consent of the original creator. So in that regard, Japanese law is incredibly strict. If you take a look at it from an American perspective, there they say, well, okay, you use an existing image from another creator, that's one image. All the rest, my face, the layout of my channel, the texts I write in the comment or in the description, the minutes I talk about the character, the explanation I give, that is percentage-wise much, much bigger in the whole than just that one image. So it's transformative enough that makes it fair use, right? So that's the way it is in America. Now, I don't know how it is in France, I must be honest. Each country has a bit its own policy in that regard. But I'm not 100% sure if JBE Books would be able to win in court if it would come to that. So if anybody has some insight in that, please do let me know in the comments. I will be happy to hear about that. But from a moral viewpoint, this is definitely despicable. And hold on, we're not done yet. We're not done. So this is the article as it appeared in The Guardian. So what I did, I looked up the company. So they're calling it, here we are, JBE Books, established in 2011. So a relatively young company from Paris. They're calling this work a sculpture, actually, as it said in the article. But here the company clearly states their name is JBE Books. So they're a book publisher. Pretty weird that a book publisher would be publishing a sculpture, right? So already that's one thing that strikes me as a little bit odd. Additionally, we see limited edition number 25. So you have a list here, a drop-down list, and you can only select number 25. So that leads me to believe that they've sold limited edition number 1 to 24 and that there are 26 volumes left, even though the article stated that they were sold out. Now, everyone is free to do what he or she wants, but if you ask my opinion, definitely do not buy this. It's not official. Oda Sensei doesn't get anything. Shueisha doesn't get anything. There's nothing added of value to this. It's just a reprint of the digital version of One Piece, sold at an exorbitant price. And in my opinion, it's not something that's going to keep its value, even though they call it limited edition number. You can buy a knockoff Louis Vuitton bag and call it limited edition, but is that going to make it more valuable? I don't think so. So if you encounter this at a shop or through a third-party retailer or eBay or whatever, just know that this is not original. This is fake. This is just copied pages, printed out and bound by somebody who doesn't have anything to do with One Piece, which, morally speaking, not legally speaking, in my opinion, is pure theft. It is despicable. It is horrible. These are, simply put, sorry for the pun, pirating scumbags. I know it's kind of cynical that a manga about pirates is getting pirated. But I don't have any other words for this. This is low. This is very low. This is despicable behavior. I have zero respect for people like this. And I have to say, I talked about fair use, but there's also a gray zone. I mean, legally speaking, for example, if there's a manga that is not being released in your country, and there are people who do fanlations or scanlations, so they scan it and they translate it themselves for free. They're doing that as a service to the manga anime community. I tend to be lenient on things like that because there's no official distributor there in that country. Is it okay? Strictly legal speaking, no. But I think a lot of publishers in Japan also let that go because they know, there's no official distributor anyway. And these people aren't earning money with that. They're actually doing it as fans as well. So that's a gray zone I definitely would not call out or would have an issue with. But this here, this is just them copying another man's work, not changing anything, just printing it out, binding it together, putting it in a box, and making money off his back on top of it all. This is horrible. This is definitely not okay from a moral point of view. I certainly do not condone this. This is not okay. Absolutely not. Despicable. Horrible human beings. Horrible human beings. And of course they hide behind the whole word salad, of pseudo-intellectual like intellectualism, like they make a commentary about the state of comics. Well, as we've seen, as we've dissected, they don't even realize the difference between a manga and a comic, so please. We're not idiots. They're just trying to use that as a pretext because they want to make a quick buck of another man's work. That's what's going on here. I took another look. So that was the company. Now here we have the artist between quotation marks, Mr. Ilan Manuwach, and I have to be very explicit here. Legally speaking, as I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just giving my personal opinion here on the matter. That's one thing. Secondly, let's keep it here in the comments on the video. Do not contact these people. Do not harass them. Do not get in touch with them in any way, shape, matter, or form. Let's keep it here in the comments. Let's keep it here on YouTube amongst us, amongst the fans. Do not bother these people. They're not worth our time. They're just comebacks trying to profiteer. Do not meddle with them. Just leave them be. We're gonna make fun of them here in the YouTube channel, but do not contact them. Do not get involved with them. Leave them be. Leave them alone. We're better than that. We're better than them. So we're gonna have a look here, but please do not contact this person. I cannot stress that enough. Okay, so Ilan Manuwach, Mr. Manuwach, let's have a look here. So what does he do? He does curatorial work, so conceptual comics archive, futures of comics. So he studies in comicsology, apparently. Research, apparently he has a PhD. He did some publications and some conferences, perhaps about stealing other people's work, I don't know. And he does some consultants work, maybe also consulting on how you can steal from other people with a minimum of effort to make money. I don't know. Let's have a look here, his publications. Just having a quick look here. Just comics as ontographs. Yeah. Nothing much of value there, in my opinion. I just took a quick glance here. So, he's been pretty busy here, but as far as I can see, not really much of value aside copying other people's work. I also happen to have found his Twitter account, where he's not active. Again, do not contact him. Leave this man be. He's not worth our time. Let's just leave him where he is in France. But this is Mr. Manuwach. This year, yeah. So this is the upstanding gentleman who thinks just printing out a couple thousands and thousands of pages of another man's work constitutes a work of art. So this is the man. Horrible human being, if you ask me. Just trying to make a quick buck. And if we look at his profile here, now he hasn't all that many followers, and he isn't following any people. I couldn't find any tweets of him, so doesn't seem to be very active here. It says conceptual comics artist. Okay, whatever that means. PhD media researcher. So, well, we have a scholar here. Somebody with a PhD. Now, I don't know if his PhD, if he majored in copyright infringement or something like that. But you know what? If that's the only thing he can do with his PhD, well, Sorry, but doesn't hold much value in my opinion. AI entrepreneur, whatever the god that may be, hosting other people's work for, I don't know, and leeching off of it, I don't know. And a consultant strategist for Onassis publications. I hope they know who they're consulting with and that he's stealing other people's work, morally speaking. I'm not giving any legal pronunciation here. I'm not speaking on legal matter of the case, just my opinion. Yeah, a lot of titles, most of them self-invented, aside perhaps from this PhD here. And yeah, media researcher, I don't know if that's really a PhD that holds much value anyway. And it looks to me like this is a person who just tries to sell himself off as a connoisseur, a person who knows the media, who knows comics, manga, and so on, who analyzes it and makes his own commentary on it by releasing his work or his sculpture. But in my opinion, this is just a scumbag leeching off Oda Sensei's work. Pretty despicable behavior. I absolutely do not condone this. And I was pretty revolted when I first saw the article. In Japan, there's no mention of this. I think it's pretty under the radar in Japan. Only I could only find the article here at the Guardian. Yeah, I wanted to share this with you because it's important that we know these things, you know. These people, they prey upon the fact that hardcore anime manga fans maybe do not know or realize what is licensed and what is not licensed, what is original and what is not original. And then people buy something like his sculpture thinking it's an original work, it's from Shueisha, it's the original thing, and it's gonna increase in value when in fact it's just a bunch of copied pages they released, and that's not okay. That's absolutely not okay. And what really got to me as well here, I'm just gonna zoom in on this here. Here you see his artwork, and so you see everything copied from Oda Sensei, absolutely everything, and he has the absolute unmitigated gall to put One Piece by Ilan Manuachi. I mean, come on, man. Come on. That's... Yeah, I know what he means, of course. He means like, well, this is not the manga One Piece, this is the artwork, the sculpture One Piece in one word, and that is made by me. So made by me then means I copied all the pages, I printed them out, and I commissioned someone to bind them together, because on their site it said somebody was commissioned to do the binding, and he had a box made, a cardboard box, a black one, and just slapped his name on it. That's by Mr. Manuachi. Horrible human being. But don't get tricked. Don't buy stuff like this. Always be careful when you see things where it seems like it's not licensed. Be very careful when you think you're going to be able to buy something that will increase in value, because that's how they sell it. That's how they try to trick people into buying this by handing out limited edition certificates and whatnot. But this has zero value. This is garbage. This is trash. I wouldn't put it on my shelf even if I get it for free. That's my opinion. Again, just my opinion, not a legal analysis, because I'm not qualified to do that. But hope you were informed by this video. If you were, please leave a like on the video, share it. And I would be interested to hear from you. So what's your opinion? Do you think this is okay? Do you think it's not okay? If you have some insights in the whole copyright thing, please do let me know in the comments below. I would be very interested to read your commentary on this. Also, just your opinion. My opinion is, but I'm a bit of a purist, that this is absolutely despicable, unacceptable, and nobody should buy this. But you know, maybe there are people who have other opinions. In that case, you're free to tell me your honest opinion down in the comments below. So hope you found this informative. Next video we're going to talk about something a little bit more fun, and in the meantime, thanks for watching. Subscribe, push a like, and see you guys at the next one. Take care, Jane. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell and sound off in the comments. And hey, while you're here, why not check out another video?